Imagine building an app that can scan pretty much anything that you throw at it. And that means you can build a personal finance app, you can build an expense tracker, or you can build a general purpose scanning app, essentially a scanner that lives in your pocket. Well, in today's video, I'm going to be showing you exactly how you can do it using an amazing AI-powered scanning framework. Now, before we get started, as always, all the apps and all the resources that I demonstrate on this channel are going to be available to view and or clone from my Patreon page. And you can learn more about it using the link in the description below. Now, if you Google for document AI, you're going to be redirected to this page right here. And this is an amazing AI-powered scanning framework from Google. Okay, so this allows you to extract structured data from documents and analyze, search, and store this data. And this essentially is an amazingly powerful framework that allows you to extract data from anywhere. Okay, so you can essentially scan any kind of document and it's going to figure out what the data is all about, and it's going to kind of tell you what all the data means. Now, if I scroll down, there's actually a demo that allows me to try document AI in my environment. Okay, so it allows me to upload a document like an invoice and see the structured data extracted. So I actually prepared some receipts, some random receipts from the internet. And if you come over here and you choose expense and you click here and you upload one of these receipts, let's say this one right here, it's going to scan them and it's going to tell you what the data is in that receipt. So check this out. It essentially scanned the entire receipt, and it also is telling me what all the data means, right? So it knows that the supplier name is Walmart, the phone is this field here, the address is this field. This is very, very useful. So it's not just scanning it and just telling me, what the data is on that receipt. It's actually kind of telling me and giving me the categories, right? So it's giving me the amount, the product code, the description, the item. Let's try one more receipt. We're going to click here and let's say we're going to pick this receipt right here, just a random receipt. Click here. And this is the result, right? So we have the supplier name, we have the address, we have the phone, line item, we have the amount, all of these amounts, we have all of this data. And if we scroll down, we also have the total amount, right? So this right here is the total amount, payment type, receipt date, purchase time, etc., etc. So everything is there for me to look at, but not only to look at, but to actually extract this data and actually do something useful with this data. Now, this is awesome technology and everything, but there's one main hurdle when it comes to actually building apps that leverage this technology, and that is they have an API that allows you to build, Python apps, JavaScript apps, etc., etc. But what if you want to leverage this technology without writing a single line of code? Well, how would you do it? Well, fortunately, there's an amazing tool that allows you to leverage this technology and build apps that are able to scan pretty much anything that you throw at it without writing even a single line of code. And that tool is called Rowy. Okay, so you can head over to rowy.io. Now, Rowy is an amazing low-code backend that allows you to do a ton of things either with low code or with no code at all. In fact, in today's video, we're not going to be writing even a line of code. Now, Rowy has graciously decided to sponsor this video, but I've been using and recommending Rowy for a while now, way before they even knew who I was and what my channel is about. So I really like this product. And thank you very much to Rowy for sponsoring this video. And so once you're here on the main homepage of rowy.io, the next thing that you want to do is you want to create an account if you don't already have an account. Now, Rowy gives you a generous free plan that is actually what I'm using right now. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to sign into my account. Once you sign into your account, you're going to be redirected to a page that looks something like this. So I have here a workplace, and a workplace is really an umbrella. It's a collection of different projects. So the next thing that you want to do is you want to create a new project. We're going to come in here and we're going to say create a project. In the next step here, it's asking us to set up a project. So we're going to say project scan. Now, the next thing we need to do is we need to pick a data source to connect this project to. And so Rowy supports Firebase. And in the future, they have plans to support PostgreSQL as well as MongoDB. So we're going to select Firebase. We're going to click on continue. And right here, Rowy is asking us whether we want to connect this new project that we're creating inside of Rowy to one of our existing Firebase projects. So I have a ton of projects here. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a brand new Firebase project so that you guys can see how to do it from scratch. So I'm going to click here. So here I'm just going to give it a random name. So maybe PRJ7. I'm going to leave this on defaults and I'm going to click on create project. So now it's creating our project here. All right, and it's telling us that you've created a new project. Okay, so you're going to click on continue. And the next thing you need to do is you need to enable various Firebase services for this newly created Firebase project. So you want to click here. And once you open it up, you're going to be on your main Firebase project overview page. This is essentially your Firebase dashboard. And we have this new project selected here. And you want to click here and get started to enable authentication services. Next, you're going to go back to Rowy. Now you can click on verify and authentication is enabled. We're going to click on continue. Okay, so now it's telling us nicely done. You've created a new project. You're going to click here and now you're going to be redirected to the main homepage of your newly created Rowy project. Okay, so you can create a new table here, but what we're looking for is we're looking to leverage that document scanning capability. Unfortunately, Rowy gives you a lot of templates that you can use. So there's tons of templates. You can view all of them right here. So there's lots and lots of different templates that you can use. And these are essentially mini apps that allow you to leverage some form of powerful functionality without writing any code at all. And so in this case, we're looking to build an app that leverage document scanning. So we're going to come here and we can actually take a look at this template. So if you explore this live demo, you can see that if you upload a receipt image, you're going to be able to extract some data. So it's showing you the data that was parsed, and you can also extract any kind of fields that you want. So in this case, this template has total cost, the date, the supplier name, and it's showing you the values, right? So we have a receipt from Pizza Hut right here. We have Crown Plaza Hotel, we have Target, we have Farmer's Table, we have all kinds of different merchants. And this amazing document AI scanning technology is able to scan all that data and to parse it out. And you can use it inside of your app. And so once this data is parsed in this table, you'll be able to reference this data from inside of your NoCode builder, whichever NoCode builder you are using. So what we're going to do is we're going to click here, use this template. We're going to click on Set up Cloud Functions. We're going to click on Continue. Now it's telling us to enable billing. We're going to click here. And as you can see right now, the default, the plan is Spark no cost. But what we want to do is we want to click here. And we want to pick this Blaze plan, pay as you go. We're going to select this plan and we're going to click continue. And I'm just going to set a threshold for like $10 a month. We're going to click on purchase. And remember, you're not going to be charged anything unless your app becomes super popular, but then you're probably going to be rich anyway. Okay, so do not worry about this at all. So as you can see, this was upgraded to our Blaze plan. We're going to go back. We're going to scroll down. We're going to click on verify. Okay, we're going to wait a few moments and it's telling us billing is enabled. Click continue. Next, you want to select the region where you're going to be deploying this Rowy run instance. So I select this. Typically, I just do US Central. I'm going to click deploy. You're going to wait a few moments here. All right, so it's finished and it's telling us deploy to Cloud Run. We're going to click on continue. And it's telling us that Rowy run is set up. Okay, so we are done here. We're going to exit out. And now if you go back to tables and you click on this document AI expenses here and you say use this template, you can immediately set this template up because we have everything else set up. So we're going to click on Let's Begin. And here you need to configure a bunch of fields. I'm just going to leave it on defaults, which is a good idea if you're just starting out. Create table. We're going to click on Next. And now what we need to do is we need to enable this document AI API that our system is going to be using. So we're going to click here. I have this new project that I've just created here selected. We're going to click on Enable. All right, so we just enabled Cloud Document AI API in our newly created Firebase project or Google Cloud project, and they're pretty much the same thing. We're going to go back. We're going to say Next. And now we need to create a new processor that's going to be able to process our receipts. Okay, so we're going to click here. We're going to pick the project, PRJ7. We're going to search for expense. This is very, very important. You want to pick the right processor, expense parser. Click on create processor. We're going to give it a name, expense processor. Click on create. After we've created this special processor, we need to save a couple of pieces of information. So the first is the ID of the processor. So I have a new file here. We're going to paste it in here. And then we also need to make note of the project ID. And that's right here. So I paste it in here, go back, click on Next. And now we need to paste it for Rowy to know. So the project ID is this one right here. And the processor ID is this one right here. Paste it, set values, click Next. And the last step is that you want to give it the right permission. So we're going to click here, pick the project, PRJ7, and you want to click here and you want to type Rowy functions. You want to select this. You want to click on Edit Principal, scroll down, add another row, click here, and then you want to search for Document, and you want to select Document AI Administrator, okay? This is going to give permissions to Rowy's function to access this document AI service. We're going to click Save. Okay, now it has permissions. So as you can see, it has several of these permissions, plus this new permission document AI administrator that we've just granted to it. Okay, we're going to go back, click Next, and now you want to click on Deploy Functions, and you want to wait a few moments for this to finish. All right, now it's telling us deploy. You're going to click on proceed, and it's telling us template has been installed successfully. Click on finish. And so right now you are redirected to our new document that essentially is a mini app, and you can start using it all within of Rowy right here. Okay, so it's giving us some instructions. We're going to close this up. And the way this works is you're going to click on add row. And what you need to do is you need to upload an image here. The data in all of these other cells is going to be populated automatically. So as you can see, the type of columns here, these are calculated fields, because you see this kind of function abbreviation here, this f of x. So you see it's f of x, f of x, f of x. And what this means is that these are derived or calculated fields. You do not have to worry about these fields. They're going to be calculated automatically. They're going to be displayed automatically. So all we need to do is upload an image here, click here. And let's say we want to upload, let's say this image here of a receipt. It uploads, and then we need to wait a couple of moments for it to parse everything, okay? So here's the parse data here. Here we have the total cost, and here we have the supplier's name. So the data has been parsed. We can try another one, add row, upload something else. How about this Crown Plaza right here? Upload that right there. So it parsed the data, and we have the other fields automatically calculated. So the total cost, the date, the supplier name, etc. And if we open this receipt here, right? So if we go to this Crown Plaza receipt right here, you can see that the total cost is right here, $61.95 right here, and then you have all this data. So it does a pretty good job of kind of parsing everything out and getting the right values. Okay, let's try another one. Let's try, how about this one right here? We're gonna upload this one and wait a moment. Essentially, it's really, really quick. So it parsed the main data, and then these fields take the data from here and display it. So we have the total cost, the date, as well as the supplier's name. So it actually parsed that as O target because it has that O there. maybe some kind of a logo for Target. Yeah, it's probably a logo for Target. Okay, so it's not perfect. It's not perfect by any means, but as you can see, it got the total. And remember, these are just, a handful of fields that we're displaying. We can display all kinds of other metadata, right? So if you double click here, you can see what you can see the data that we parse, right? So if you click on this tree, you can see we have, all of this data right here. This is money value. So you see it's telling you money value, and then the currency and the units, etc., etc. And then if you scroll down, you have more content. This is probably the time, and it's actually also telling you what kind of value you have. So it says date time value, and if we scroll up, we have this date time value here. And so you can get all kinds of different and interesting data. And that is something I'm going to be covering a little bit later in the video. So the first part of getting this app to work is done. The first half is configuring Rowy and testing that everything is set up correctly. Because if this works, this data already exists in your Firebase. Okay, this is the hardest part, because if I go into my Firebase project here, so here I am in PRJ7, and I choose Firestore database here, I should see the exact same tables with the exact same data already pre-filled for me, right? So here's the data, this document AI expenses parser, and we have 3 documents that represent essentially 3 rows, right? So we have 3 rows, and they're stored as documents, right? So this is the first document, right? And these are the main fields. We have date, we have parse data, we have receipt image. The only thing that we do is we essentially set receipt image. So you need to set a couple of these fields that I'm going to show you a little bit later. And everything else is generated automatically by Rowy. So you don't need to worry about, making API calls. You don't need to worry about, any of the logic essentially, because that's all done with that amazing template that Rowy provided to us, okay? And so if you take a look, we have data. All of this is automatic. The only thing that we upload, and this is what I was just doing moments ago, is this receipt image field, right? So if you head over to this receipt image, when we upload the image, Rowy automatically stores it in Firebase storage, okay? And we get back a URL. And so it gets back a URL. And once it has the URL, it sends that image to this Google Document AI system, and it gets back the actual metadata, right? So it gets back the actual metadata and it stores it right here as sparse data. And so now we have all of this sparse data, right? We have money value, we have so many other things, right? We have a lot of content, right? So if you scroll down, we have type net amount, and if you look for type, you can see type purchase time, and if you look at more types, you can see type total amount. So you have access to a lot of metadata in respect to that receipt, right? Total tax amount. We also have tax amount right here, and this is $49.89. I think this was Target, right? $49.89. You see, this is tax. So it figured everything out, and it works amazingly well. And if we scroll down, you have what else do we have? Receipt date, right? This is the date right here. Scroll down. Payment type, right? Visa, all right? And if you look at the receipt, you can see that this was a Visa charge, right? So you have access to a ton of metadata fields, not just what this template shows, right? This template is just a template, right? It's a way to show you what, a couple of fields and to show you the possibilities, but you have access to essentially the entire receipt here, right? So you can get, the tax amount, you can get the type of currency, right? Whether it's dollars, euros, Canadian dollars, US dollars, you name it, right? You can get, phone number of the merchant, the name of the merchant, anything that you want, it's available, right? It's available because it parsed everything and essentially categorized all of those fields, which is very, very powerful. Now, the only thing that's left to do right now is to build a simple app that allows users to upload receipts and then display all the information on another screen. And that's what we're going to do right now. So I logged into my account, and now I'm just going to create a brand new app. So I'm just going to call this, so I'm just going to call it expenses. I'm going to create a blank app. I'm going to click next. And we need to make sure that FlutterFlow has access to our Firebase project. So we're going to find a project ID of the Firebase project, and that's right here. Just click on this gear icon, project settings, and this is the project ID. Copy that, paste it in here, click connect. You're going to get an error message because we haven't given FlutterFlow access to it yet. Go back here, users and permissions, add member, paste the email address, give it the editor role, done, add member. Okay, go back here, click connect, and now it's connected. Next, you want to click on auto generate config files right here, generate files. You want to enable authentication, and you want to create a user collection, because obviously in this type of app, you want to make sure that people are authenticated. Next, you want to create your pages, one for the login and one for the main page that logged in user sees. So we're going to click here, and we're going to select a login page. I'm just going to select this page right here, call it login, create page. And this one right here, I'm just going to create a blank page, and I'm just going to say home page. Create page, start building. Okay. All right. So now we have a login page and we have a home page. I'm going to create one more page that allows users to upload their receipts. So we're going to come here, next page, and we're going to create a blank page. And I'm just going to say add receipt, create page. And now we have 3 pages. Now let's take a look at some of the errors here. So we have a couple of errors with this template. Let's go ahead and fix it up. Has to do with this conditional visibility. I'm just going to turn it off right here. And I'm going to delete all of this right here just to keep things simple. Turn all of this off. All right, so I fixed up the errors. This is just a sign-in page here. Next, I want to create a sample account so that I can log in and add a receipt. We're going to go back to our project. We're going to go to authentication. And I'm going to go into sign-in method, and I want to turn on this email and password. We're going to turn this on so that users can log in, click save, and I'm going to create an account. I'm going to go into users, add a user, and I'm going to just add a random user. All right, so I added an account, and now we should be able to log into the app, okay? All right, let's go ahead and test the app to make sure it works. We're going to create a new test environment. All right, so here's the app. We can log in as that sample user. Right here, click on sign in, and now we are redirected to the home page. So the app works right now. Let's go ahead and get it to display various receipts, as well as the ability to add new receipts as well. So let's go ahead and create a home page real quick. This is our home page. I'm just going to do home page, and here we can easily list receipts. So I'm just going to create a list view. Come over here, maybe we can create a row. And then inside the row, we can have maybe 3 text fields. Okay, so to represent different pieces of data. So I'm just going to duplicate this. I'm going to duplicate. I'm going to center the row, something like this. And I'm going to give it some padding, maybe something like this. And here we can display the various pieces of the information from the receipts. But we can't do that just yet because we haven't given FlutterFlow the schema that we have. So if we head over to Firestore, head over to the schema, we have the user schema, which is nice, but we don't have the schema for the receipts. So we want to go to our project, and we want to create the schema for this document AI parser collection. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy the name. It needs to be exactly, paste it in here, create, start from scratch, and then I want to give it the fields to display the data. So if we come back here, the fields that we want to display are the date, the supplier name, and the total cost. That is the only 3 fields that we want to display. We can also display a receipt if we want later, but right now I want to display these fields. So I'm just going to say, let's take a look. It needs to be exact. Date, supplier name, total cost. So I'm going to say date. This is going to be date time, supplier name. This is going to be a string, and then total cost. And it's storing the cost as a string. It's not storing it as an integer. So it needs to be string here. And now we have our schema that exposes the data in our Firebase to FlutterFlow. So we're going to go back here. And now we can do a list view here, a list query, add a backend query, query collection, document, confirm, and then we can set the fields. So remember, we do have some data. So we have 3 rows here, okay? So we're going to go back to FlutterFlow, and now we can display it. So this first field, we want maybe the supplier name. The second field, maybe we want, what do we want? The total cost. And this last field, we want the date. So we're going to come here, pick the date, format the date, and let's say something like this. Click confirm. Okay. Before you run the app, you want to make sure that you have all data set up. Now, like I said, it's not perfect. So for instance, for this one, it did not pull up a date. So you want to set a date in this case. So I'm just going to set a random date. Okay, something like this, because you want your data to be consistent. Okay. Otherwise, you're going to have issues with the app. So now that we have everything set up, come over here, instant reload. All right, and here's our app. And as you can see, we have all the data here being displayed. So we have Target, Crown Plaza, Farmer's Table. All the data is here, and it's nicely being displayed because it was parsed successfully. Now we can give it some nice padding here. So if we come back here, we can give a little bit of a padding to the row. So let's space it out a little bit. So something like this. And now if we reload it, and now as you can see, the formatting is a lot better. There's more spacing, and that way you can see exactly what is going on. And you have a very, very simple list of your data. You can obviously sort it by any of these fields. You can format it. You can do all kinds of interesting things. But the key here is making sure that users can enter new receipts, and it's automatically going to display the parsed data. So let's go ahead and do that right now. So we're going to go back to our app. We have this add receipt page. So let's give it a name, add receipt. And what we want to do is we want to create a widget that allows users to click on and upload a new receipt that we're going to be parsing. Okay, so let's create a image, maybe some kind of a placeholder. And in fact, let's wrap it inside of a row so that we can nicely center it. Wrap this widget inside of a row, center this row. And now we have, let's give it a little bit of padding from the top. And so here we have a placeholder image. And the idea here is that if you click on it, you'll be able to take a picture of the receipt or upload an existing picture that you may have of the receipt. So we want to click here. We want to come here. We want to add an action. So I'm going to click here, add an action. I'm going to search for upload, utilities, upload save media. You're going to select that. Upload type, you're going to select Firebase because we want that, the images to be stored in Firebase. And here you can, you can choose whether it's camera or gallery, or specifically camera or specifically gallery. So it doesn't really matter. And so next, what I want to do is I want to create a nav bar here so that I can access this page quickly and easily. I'm just going to search for something like add, maybe something like this. And I'm going to set up our nav bar, show nav bar, and I'm going to configure it on the home page as well. This is our home page. And now we have home page and we have add. That way we can access the pages. I'm going to do an instant reload right here. All right, so here's the app. This is the main screen right now. And if we click here, we have this placeholder. Obviously, we don't have an image there, but the idea here, this is going to be the placeholder for the upload, right? So if you click here, we pick gallery. We can upload a receipt. So let's pick a receipt. Let's upload a random receipt. And now the idea, it's going to be uploaded and stored in our Firebase storage. Here we are in Firebase storage. I'm going to go into users. My user uploads. And this is the upload, right? This is what we've just uploaded. This is the receipt right here. All right. So now that we've checked and verified that it uploads fine, the next thing that we need to do is we need to make sure that it's able to process that receipt. And how we're going to do that? Well, remember, the way we do the processing is we need to add a row here. And so we have the URL, right? So once we upload, we get this URL. And all we need to do is we need to add another record, another document to this document AI parser collection. Okay, so if you take a look at these documents, we have 3 documents here right now. We need to add another one, but we only need to specify certain fields. Specifically, we need to specify receipt image, and we need to specify this download URL, which is the URL of the image, and we also need to specify the type of image. That's the only thing we need to do. Everything else is going to be processed by Rowy, okay? And so now what we need to do is we need to go back to our app, and we need to create another document with this receipt image, which is an array of these fields, this map. This is a map right here. And so if we go back to our app, we can go to our schema, we can come here, and what we need to do is we need to create a new record. The problem is that the record that we need to create is a complex record, right? We need to create receipt image, then we need to create one element in the array, and then this element needs to have these 2 fields. And so in this case, we can't really create these fields here, right? What we need to do is we need to create a complex field, right? So we need to create a data type. We're going to come here, we're going to create a new data type, and the data type is going to be called receipt image type. Okay, we're going to say create. We're going to add the fields that we need, that we want. And this is this download URL, as well as this type right here. That is all we need. So just 2 fields. Come back here, say download URL, which is a string. Add another field, image type, and you need to make sure that it's exact case, actually just type. So type is a string. We're going to say create, and now we have this receipt image type with 2 fields that we need to fill out and add to the document, and then the rest of the fields are going to be filled out automatically by the system. And now we're going to come back here. We're going to go to this main document AI parser, and we are going to create this new field. So this is going to be receipt image, which data type is of receipt image type. We're going to select it right here. And this is a list. Okay, remember, this is a list because you see it has this. So in this case, it only has one element of this list, or an array. It's the same thing. So this has one element of the array, but receipt image itself is an array. You see it says here an array, and this is a map. Okay, so if we come back here, now we have receipt image, which is a list of this data type, and now we can add the right data and get back all the other fields processed by the system. So let's go back to the app. Let's go back to the UI, and let's go ahead and fix our flow. So we have this upload. What we're going to do is we're going to create another action. We're going to create a new document, and the collection is document AI parser, and we're going to add these fields. Now, we're not going to add these fields. We only want this field, right? We're going to remove these. We only want this field. And what we want to do is we want to add first item, right? This is an array, and we're going to be adding an item, add first item. And now what we want to do is set individual fields. So remember, this is a complex type. We have this download URL and the type. So I'm going to say download from variable and widget state, uploaded file URL. And for the type, I'm just going to specify image JPEG, just for JPEG file. I'm just going to say done. And then we're going to add a snack bar. Utilities, alerts, notifications, show snack bar, image uploaded. Okay, so that the user knows that, you know, things are working, right? We're going to do a duration of, all right, so we are done there. Let's go ahead and reload the app. And hopefully when it uploads, it's going to add that record, and the rest of the fields are going to be processed automatically. And then the list is going to be automatically updated with the new item. So we're going to come back here, click here, gallery, and then let's upload this receipt here. We're going to say open, and then we're going to take a look, image uploaded. Let's see if it actually uploaded. So there's the image, and now we're waiting for it to process. So it got the data, and now it's going to process all of this. So now we can go back to our list view, and we should see the new item, and there it is. That's the image that we've just uploaded, this Thai Kong store. So if we come back here, we can do another one. Gallery, let's pick another image. How about this Pizza Hut? Upload, image uploaded, go back to Rowy, and now we have this new record. Now we're waiting for the data to come in. It parsed it, and now these fields are going to parse. So now it got the total cost, the date, the supplier name. Go back to the home screen, and now we have Pizza Hut being displayed here. And we can also sort these, we can also group them, very, very easy, right? All you have to do is come back to the home page, and we're going to go to this list view, edit query, and then you can do ordering, right? So let's say you want to order by supplier name, you want to do increasing, so like A to Z, instant reload, and you're going to see it nicely being ordered. All right, so now it's nicely being sorted in alphabetical order, C, F, O, P, T, right there. And obviously you can sort it by any field that you want. You can also group it by merchants. And the way you can group it by merchants is by creating another list view in there. And the first list view is just going to get the merchants, and the second list view is going to filter by that specific merchant. And that way, maybe you have several Pizza Hut transactions. In that case, they're going to be grouped under Pizza Hut. And maybe you have several Target transactions, they're going to be grouped under Target. And if you have just single transactions for these merchants, they're just going to be grouped under the merchant, but they're just going to be a single transaction under that specific merchant. Now, remember, you can have more fields here, right? If you go back to Rowy and you click here, this column settings, and you go to column config, you can see that this is actually pulling this total amount, right? And if you come back here and you go to column config, you can see that this is actually pulling receipt date. And remember what I told you in the beginning of the video is that it's able to get the types for the receipts, right? So like dates, currency, total, tax, merchant, line item, you name it. So it says here receipt date. And if you come back here and you go to column config, you can see that this is supplier name. And so theoretically, you can add a new column and you can say, well, this is going to be, I don't know, like tax. And you can say field type is going to be a derived, right? Derivative, right? You're going to do next. And then in the function, you're just going to copy that function from the other columns and change the field, the lookup field, whether it's going to be like tax or total, subtotal, name, etc., etc. And that way you're going to have a new calculated field here that's going to pull the data from this field here. Because if you click here, remember, there's lots and lots of values. You're just looking. So if you scroll down, remember, you are looking for the field type, right? So you have lots and lots. You have type, purchase time. If you scroll down, you have type supplier name. If you scroll down, you have type total tax amount. So all of these types are available, so you can get the specific data that you want. So essentially, you can have this table that we're looking at right here, have as many columns as you want, or as few columns as you want. It's really, really up to you. You don't have to be limited to total cost, date, or supplier name. And this way you can take it as far as you want and display any kind of data that you want, that you deem important in your app. And remember, and so if you like this app, definitely check out Rowy.io. Thanks again to Rowy for sponsoring this video. And if you want to view and or clone the app that I built, then you definitely want to check out and join our amazing Patreon community, because not only will you get access to all the no-code apps that I built on this channel, all you need to do is find it, click on it, and then clone it, or you can just view it just to see how I built everything. And so if you are trying to learn no code, if you want to build apps, maybe a side project, maybe you want to contract with somebody, maybe you want to, start a brand new career, then joining our amazing Patreon community is definitely a worthwhile investment. And you can learn more about our amazing Patreon community in the description just below this video. Now, if you're interested in some of the more things that I talked about when it comes to Rowy, I'm going to have a video right here. You can check it out and learn some of the more functionality that you get access to when you use this amazing tool.